It is the 16th of January, 2020, WIKISPEED Standup. Go ahead, Lauren.
Lauren Salter, Gabriel Island, British Columbia. This past week, I didn't do anything that I planned to do, but I had some time because the power was out and I was hauling in wood in case of an outage, and we had sub-zero temperatures, which we're not set up for. So it was kind of oddly instructive about the kinds of things that we actually need in my mind. So the things that I did that I hadn't planned to do but are relevant, I think. I've been talking for a while about something peripherally about something I'm interested in doing here, and have a friend from our Linux group and others that I've been talking to and pitching it, which is local, independent, better communications and energy. A big kind of a bucket there. But because I was kind of knocked out from keeping the fire going and other things, I finally got fed up and wanted to do something interesting. So I did some phone calls and emails about two things, which is communications co-ops and kinetic energy storage, which I've circulated before. This kinetic energy storage, they sent me a thing back wanting more information on my company. So I don't know how far that's going to go. They sent me back a form thing. It was a form I filled in. The co-op is, and I'll do this mostly in crosstalk, but I talked to the assistant CEO of Saskatchewan Access Communications about starting a communications co-op, internet and phone, I guess. And it kind of put me in mind. I think it is relevant to us because with people, we've had people who are in remote locations that have trouble with connecting. So I think it's peripherally anyway relevant, and actually I think it is relevant to the whole enterprise. So that was what I did this week. Again, this week, my first thing is I want to get back into uploading, or rather committing, using Git and committing, because last thing I did that was very relevant to the project was I got more progress on the yearly reporting to IRS, and then I lost some of it because I hadn't committed it, and it got lost with Adobe, because it's Adobe. So I want to get back into my old good habit that I did with the IRS charitable of committing my changes so everybody can see them and that they're safe in the vault. And so that's coming week. So progress on the reporting. And so I'm kind of dividing things into have to do's and want to do's. And so then the want to do is do more Python and Raspberry Pi and LRW. So that's the coming week. Blocks are Canadian winter and climate disruption. Too much energy in the atmosphere, or disrupted energy such as a jet stream in the atmosphere. And so that's it for me on stand-up part.
Okay, it's Michael Olchuk in Saskatoon, Canada. For the week, I did get last week's stand-up posted. I did a bit of investigation on the hardware from that Make Magazine article. It does all seem to be relevant, and it does all seem to be available. So the Intel Realsense camera is actually $300 Canadian, It has a software development kit and depth perception with acoustic sensors. And it does seem to play well with other sensors. It'll take input from encoders or some other software that is being used to figure out where you are, like LiDAR units and SLAM, whatever that acronym means. There is a deep learning module from NVIDIA that sounds pretty interesting if you're actually into the AI stuff. And again, it's got a developer kit, and it's on for about $130 from Amazon. Raspberry Pi 3, of course, we know quite a bit about. If you actually want to get into one with the case and the power supply and stuff, you can. It's pretty easy to get it for $100. And then there's on the kind of the lower end, there is an Open MV camera, which is an integrated computer vision and a little computer with some parallel processing and a whole bunch of open source software, which is in the $65 US range. You have to get that from the US. It doesn't seem they have anything in Canada right now. But all of those would be quite interesting, integrated with the Little Red Wagon project and many other projects that we might be interested in doing. The Python that I was trying to do that kind of applied both to work and to WIKISPEED ran into some more trouble. I failed basically because I didn't have an internet connection that I could use to load software, but I did try. Next week, I am looking at posting some of the stuff that I did months ago, it seems, on the object document, trying to get some comments and stuff. And I need to get back to some hardware, wiring up some stuff on the Little Red Wagon project with the infrared diodes and stuff. And of course, if I ever get anything done, I will take video and post it. Blocks, I am done with my training modules. I don't really have any excuse not to do WIKISPEED stuff except for my wife's honey-do list. Anyway, that's it for me. Back to you, Lauren.
Okay, so I'm gonna give myself a 5. I think I'll go to a 6, and team a 7, 8, and process improvement. Yes, so I did reach out and sent you a copy of the email. So we'll see if that gets any traction. This is the people I know all belong to like 5 or 6 boards and committees, so it's a little hard to get on their weekly schedule. But on the other hand, they are active and community minded. So if we get one, that would be probably a real win. So and so that the process improvement is to actualize, realize, nail this down. I'm probably going to go over to that restaurant and try it, see if it's too noisy. So I might actually call on you or somebody for a short Zoom conference at your convenience to test out the location. There's a lot of locations. One guy has a common room in his condo that he proposed for our Linux meeting that has, but no Wi-Fi. That's the problem. So anyway, that's it for me.
Okay. I'm going to give myself, I think it works out to about 7.5. I'm going to go with 7 for the team because we're making progress. 7 compared to 6 for last week. And I don't have a process improvement. Again, if we get to 3 or 4 people, I think the process improvement makes a little bit more sense than just the 2 of us. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we should be doing process improvements anyway. Anyway, that wraps us up. You had some crosstalk you wanted to go through.
Yeah. So I actually looked at the reviews of when I do it. It was Regina Cable Co-op. It's since become Access Communications, still a cooperative, and it's Saskatchewan, or rather, it's in various places. One of the big complaints was that many areas aren't covered, or the coverage that they have is some kind of rural Wi-Fi that or rural coverage that people aren't happy with. And as well as some people expecting, they wanted a cable bundle, and they weren't happy with the cable bundles. But supposedly CRTC, which, yeah, so this was like, I was expecting, nothing. I phoned the call center, and the guy says, "Oh, I'll have somebody call you." And then the assistant CEO phones me and spends 30, 40 minutes telling me all about the history, and also people giving me a contact in Vancouver of a small company that I actually subscribe to that runs fiber optic to some apartment buildings in Vancouver, and for $20 a month gives you like really, at least this is 2013, gave us really fast fiber internet. And also she told me that Campbell River, which is up Vancouver Island, once had a co-op which has been bought out by one of the biggies, had a comms co-op. So I know it's a local thing for you, and so you're probably familiar with it and may have some opinions about it.
Actually, I'm trying to, I've heard of it. I'm trying to figure out whether they actually cover this area.
Yeah, so I think she said so it's Saskatoon and some other places, selected places, and then they offer a rural thing, but I don't know that it's very different or cheaper than the other not so good options. And she was like almost apologetic about that. She did say, since they're a co-op, and I worked in Saskatchewan co-ops for a year before it was abolished by the incoming Conservative government. It came back, I think, with subsequent governments. Anyway, I worked for the Department of Co-ops and Credit Unions in Saskatchewan for a year or two. I don't know if I ever mentioned that. And so I'm a little familiar with different kinds of co-ops in Saskatchewan. So something she mentioned twigged my memory, because she said, "Oh, you know what? We sometimes, it's not practical to extend cable to a single person, but if there's like 25, 30 people in a community." And I don't know if, again, at the end, so the thing I've been working on Gabriola is this thing called Lyme Net. I think I sent it to you. It's a configuration starting about $200. It's a box that can do anything, legal or illegal. Wi-Fi, cellular, radio, FM, AM. It's an entirely configurable and boostable box, and they have a $2,000 version that's like a fairly large base station with a good range. So that's one of the things that could be in combination with getting a cable running to somebody. I don't know. Anyways, it did kind of. I thought of you when she said 25 or 30 people in a community or area, and then that the way that worked in Saskatchewan co-ops was. Are you with me here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. The way that worked in Saskatchewan co-ops, so it's like there were community gas co-ops, as I recall, and they would because everybody had a front end loader in the area, they would do the digging, and then some experts would come and lay the pipe. So it was a kind of sweat equity, community based extension of natural gas at that time.
Okay.
Through a co-op, through a local co-op. So anyways, I don't know how or if that'll work. But I thought you mentioned you were very close to fiber optic, but not close enough.
Well, we're less than a quarter mile away from a tower that has fiber to it, but
Yeah.
SaskTel has no intention of bringing fiber out here.
Right.
In fact, the local Redbird is one of the local internet service providers. It's a new service provider. They actually ran fiber across the road from us. It's like 600 feet away from my house, and I can't get to that either. So.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I've got the name and contact info of this person, so I can, if you're interested, I can kind of reach out to her and give her yours if you feel you want to get involved in some kind of community effort. She was a little bit out of the box, I think, so I think she was like open, but it's up to you.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like they have a big list of locations in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out if any of them are actually, if any of them are close enough to me to be like within the range of the tower, because it's all wireless. So
yeah,
they have to have equipment on a tower.
Yeah. So it's more of a community organizing or agitation project.
Yeah, because SaskTel serves this area, but they don't serve it well.
Yeah.
I don't know, at the cabin, SaskTel kind of serves it, but when you get to a long weekend, everybody brings their smartphone. That one poor tower can't possibly service it. So.
Right. So what she was talking about was under the CRTC, she was saying Shaw and SaskTel and all the biggies and Rogers are obliged, if you set up a co-op, they're obliged to provide at reasonable cost the internet.
Oh, really?
Etc. Yes.
Huh.
So that's an important piece of information.
Yeah.
And that's how they operate.
Okay.
Because they don't run a lot of cable or stuff themselves, but they take advantage of the legal obligation. And yeah, that's how it was supposed to work with so forth. And they were always griping that they put up extra fees and barriers, and they were going back to CRTC, and it sounded expensive and time consuming to thrash it all out. But she was pretty, they've done okay because they were already big, and certainly they were great for us in the 80s. And the other thing was, she was saying cable's too messy. She didn't say it in so many words, but she said if you stick with internet, it's a lot easier. Internet, and then they have I was reading, there's a Wikipedia entry, and they claim to be not quite VoIP because they were some people are put off by voice over IP, so they call it something different for their phone service.
As far as I know, based on the SaskTel people that I know and the communications people I know, everything in Saskatchewan is voice over IP.
Yeah.
If you use an analog phone, it gets digitized and it gets sent.
Yeah, right. I have a Virgin home phone. I should show you this. I'm going to show you this. This is the weirdest thing, because whenever I call for service, none of them know anything about it. They did it through the source, and it's almost none of the techs know about it. Can you see that?
I see a book.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's this thing. See that?
Oh, okay.
It's got a little aerial, and it's actually a cell phone from Virgin and a company called ZTE, which I think was before Huawei. ZTE was considered an organ of the Chinese government. There was something before Huawei even. It was an earlier one. Anyway, so the source was selling them, And so it has a standard RJ, what is it? The phone plug. And I have an old phone, landline. You're breaking up your voice here a little bit. I'm going to kill my video.